So are you seeing your customers interested in technologies that save as much as generate new revenue?
You know, I think at the end of the day, it's always about generating more revenue. It needs to be, but inherently, the underpinning is always, you know, save me money. So there's kind of both. There are both sides of it, and somewhat depends on which audience you're talking to. Where we end up with is we kind of have both discussions. When we're talking to the operation side of the business, they're always trying to figure out how to drive cost out of the model. When you're talking to the marketing or the sales organization at a carrier, they're always looking at how do I drive incremental business and so forth. So you kind of have to do both. And our proposition actually sets up very nicely to do both, in that we're talking about taking a reuse or taking an existing successful application, which might be voicemail or prepaid or operator services, and extending it to a new network. That's an operating team's, you know, dream come true. From a marketing team, they're looking at, okay, that's good, I like that. But with our service blender, our ability to take those existing services and do a Web 2.0, expose those to a Web 2.0 ecosystem, creates a whole new set of capabilities and new services and new channels to market and so forth. That's very exciting to the marketing side. So you kind of have to play both. If you just strictly go in a cost out model, you're only going to take it so far. And there's a tremendous amount of the startups that are focused on just all net new incremental services, and that space is really it's really crowded, quite candidly. There's a lot of noise around, I will create you new service, I'll create you new revenue, it's a new revenue stream, and you know, once again, it's really hard to fulfill on those promises, because you know, everybody's looking for that silver bullet. What's that next service that's going to be viral, that's going to take us you know, to the next level? We don't necessarily subscribe to that theory. We've resisted, if you will, the call to create new applications, just net new applications, and try to discover that new silver bullet. We kind of come from a different mindset, which says if an operator has an existing service that's got say 10, 20 million subscribers buying it, that's a successful service. People vote with their feet, right? I mean, if they're going to walk towards something, they buy it, they like it. Why not take that existing service and create new capabilities with it? And that's what we're doing with our Web 2.0 strategy, is instead of trying to something brand new, let's take the existing services and make new functionality, new capabilities.
Like what? What kind of service?
Well, I mean, an example that we created with one customer was what we call voicemail direct, if you will, the ability today to leave a voicemail in somebody's voicemail box on any cell phone, any wireline phone, any IP phone, anywhere in the world without ringing their phone. Okay? The ability to just drop you a message, right, to be able to do that is an enhancement on an existing voicemail platform. Now, you might find is that a lot of the application companies, in order to give you that kind of functionality, want to sell you a new messaging platform. Well, the incremental return on your investment of buying a whole new one just to get that one feature is probably not real great. Where at the same time, taking an existing service like voicemail, exposing it to a Web 2.0 environment with a core feature like voicemail direct, you enable a whole new distribution of, or a whole new channel for that voicemail service. So for instance, you could, as you see in the market today, you could take the voicemail direct button and put it on your Facebook page or your eHarmony page, or or anywhere out on the web, and somebody wants to leave you a voicemail, they can click that button and it goes right to your cell phone, to your voicemail. Now it drives the cell phone usage without ever having to figure out where that button is, right? You're creating a whole new internet-based type distribution channel that wasn't there before. Or as we see today, I don't know about you, but I get advertisers, like my car dealership calls up and says it's time for the oil change on your car. They call your cell phone. Well, that's annoying when I'm in a meeting to have a phone call from the car dealership saying it's time for an oil change. It would be a lot better, I would feel as a consumer, a lot better if they just left it in my voicemail box without ringing my phone. But they can't do that today. That service doesn't exist. That capability doesn't exist because the existing messaging platforms and the technology just hasn't been applied that way. So
well, it's interesting that in order to get that functionality, you would call, the two ways that I've taken advantage of it are either calling a hotel switchboard operator and telling someone or telling the operator to leave a voicemail. I don't want to wake the person up.
Right.
Or I don't, for whatever reason, I want them to leave a voicemail. Or you call a company and you can do a similar thing, but you just couldn't do it outside those two.
You can do it in a carrier, but the only way you do it is in effect, if you're on AT&T, you'd have to call AT&T and say, put this in this guy's mailbox, or dial a number to get in the back of AT&T system, then dial your mailbox to leave a message. But you couldn't do it to every carrier, every phone, everywhere in the world. You'd have to know all those. I mean, it's impractical, right? But if you had a smart enough application that a carrier could then expose all their customers, like that. But that's just one example. There's just a different way to take, something which is a core service of a carrier today, and move it to the web, and enable, a whole new ecosystem of people that would utilize that functionality. There's a lot of people trying to work on this today in carriers. You see a lot of Web 2.0 initiatives, but most of them are all focused on new platforms. Take a new service and make it web-enabled. Well, that comes with inherent risks from our perspective. It would be a lot smarter to take an existing service and make it web-enabled, because why? 20 million people are already buying it. Why go web-enable something that only 50,000 people are buying? Right. Or in our, and the idea of mashing services, a new service, a web service, with an existing one, has a lot more chance of success. And in the venture world, or in the startup world where we operate in, there's always there's a funny saying, which is that, or not a funny saying, but it's a kind of an old saying that says that a startup partner with a startup is just a startup. Right? There's no you're a startup, I'm a startup, let's work together, big deal. Not a lot of chance of success. Why? You can't leverage each other. We both want to leverage each other, but not successful. That analogy applies to services as well. If I mash a new service with a new service, I still have a new service.
Right.
Where you take a legacy service with 10 million subscribers and mash it with a new service like Voicemail Direct, you know what? You can leverage the 10 million people that have already bought it. You've got an automatic channel market. Your chance of success goes up phenomenally. Your risk is much lower. So, once again, that's kind of inherent in how we're kind of approach the market, is a more conservative, less risky approach than just rip everything else out and start all over.